What's up, everybody? It is that time. Oops, I'm not on let go yet. Hang on. What's up, everybody? It is that time again. It is 2 o'clock on Wednesday, and it is time for My CP Does Not Define Me. I'm D to the J with a roll away, your host of the show that happens every week. Same time, same channel, but today is going to be different because what I have today is a guest that I've been waiting on. She does so much stuff and has such an impressive resume that there's no way I could list it all by myself because I would need 3 shows just to cover just how much she does for our little world that we live in, or our big world that we live in, as some people would say. I would like to introduce my very special guest and a great friend of mine, Miss Kimberlee Stevenson. How are you, Kim?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I am hanging in there like a rubber chicken on a rope set on fire. And when we figure that one out, I guess everybody will know what I mean. So I want to say welcome to My CP Does Not Define Me. Thank you so much for being on the show. I know with your busy schedule, it's like you are just running every direction and have so much going on. For our viewers that do not know or have not heard of you yet, could you tell us just a little bit about yourself and your disability, if you would, please?
Sure. So my name is Kimberlee Stevenson, and I have spastic diplegia cerebral palsy. I also have scoliosis, and I am a 4-time stroke survivor. That is pretty much me in a nutshell.
Now, you mentioned this to me the other day, and this was kind of my mind blown moment. You've had 4 strokes.
Yes.
Do they know? Do the doctors know what caused them, or how they came about?
Yes, they do. So they knew in a matter of just running some tests the second time, because the very first one I had in my sleep, so I didn't know what was going on, and when I woke up, did not go to the hospital because I thought it was something else.
Wow.
So when I finally did go to the hospital hours later, I had the second one on the MRI table. That one is the one that did a lot of damage. It did more damage than the first one did.
Oh, wow.
So with that being said, after running some tests, they found out it was stress related.
Whoa.
So yeah, it was absolutely stress related. That I was doing too much, not sleeping, not taking care of myself, pretty much not really eating right, and it was a lot of running on 18-20-hour days, maybe sleeping for 4 hours.
So your body effectively was just shutting down and said, I couldn't take it anymore.
That's exactly what it did. Was it completely shut down?
Whoa. I honestly, I have heard of stress doing a lot of things, and I have seen stress doing a lot of things, but I have never heard of stress causing 2 strokes in one day in a matter of, oh my, I'm at a loss for words, and that's not good for a radio host. We're just 3 minutes into the show, and I'm like, So when you figured out it was stress related, on top of having cerebral palsy, now you've had a stroke. So what happened? Did you lose? I mean, because you said the second one did more damage than the first one. What happened with that?
Yes. So I'll explain the difference in the damages so you can kind of understand what happened. So the first one that happened, it happened somewhere between, they said 2 a.m. and 5:45 a.m. when I woke up.
Mm-hmm.
The last time I looked at the clock that night, it said 2 a.m. I was a senior in college, taking an 18-hour credit course, which, if you don't know, that's like 6 classes for a college student, on top of working a part-time job, my work study, extracurricular activities, and just trying to find a job. And I was prepping to, this happened the week before spring break. So I was prepping to go to Atlanta for to look for housing and things to go, because I had accepted a job right after graduation.
Mm-hmm.
So March 10th, 2005, I woke up that morning like I normally do, and I was like, Dag, I went to sleep with my laptop and my books and stuff on my bed. I was up writing a paper the night before. And I was like, all right, well, I got to get ready because I need to be logged into the computer at 6 a.m. for work. And I logged in, worked my shift. But during the morning, I worked it was like a 4-hour shift that morning. So I'm working, but you know how you grab your bottle of water and take a sip? Those with us with CP, we know we try to take a sip of something at certain times. It'll spill out our mouths.
Mm-hmm. So
I anything of it. I'm like, oh, my water spilled. I'm being clumsy this morning. As say in the CP talk group, I'm having a CP moment.
Right.
That's exactly what I thought it was I'm having a CP moment.
CP moment. I'm all right.
I didn't think anything of it. I walked out of my room into the suite that I lived in with 5 other girls. And I walked out, and I remember one of my suite mates saying, what happened to your face? And I was like, what are you talking about? And she was like, your face, it's drooping. And I looked in the mirror, and sure enough, my face was drooping.
Oh, my God.
I called my mother, and she was like, oh, it could be Bell's palsy. You've had this before. I said, okay. So she was like, call the doctor, tell them, that it could be an episode of Bell's palsy. They'll get you in there. I said, okay, great. That's exactly what I called the doctor. Mind you, I was living in Charlotte, North Carolina. My mother was living in Virginia, and the rest of my family is up north in Massachusetts. So called the doctor, got everything scheduled to go later on that afternoon, because me and my crazy self is like, I need to get to class. I have to go take a midterm. So as I'm walking to class, I had an 11 o'clock sociology class. I will never forget it because I thought I was going to be late, because as I'm walking, my leg starts to drag, and I'm like, okay, really having a CP moment with my leg dragging. This just ain't working today.
Okay.
And I got to class, and my professor said, this ain't your CP acting up, honey. You need to go to the ER. And I was like, yeah, I've already talked to the doctor. I'm going after your midterm. And she says, no, you need to go now. By now, my speech is slurring.
Oh, no.
So now it's about 11 o'clock in the morning. So she's like, we need to get you to the ER. So they put me in a golf court, and I head on over to the health center on campus. In the meantime, they have called the ambulance to come get me. The ambulance gets stuck and cannot get out of traffic. And anybody who knows anything about Charlotte, uptown area traffic, is a hot mess.
Oh, boy.
So they couldn't get through. My roommate was like, forget this, I'm taking you. So she did. She put me in her car. We went out the back gate of the university, which landed us 2 minutes from the hospital. We get to the hospital. She lets me out at the door. She goes to park. I go inside. I'm trying to sign my name in. My hand is now like, it's really weak. And I'm struggling to walk. They run to me with a wheelchair saying, do not worry about trying to sign in. We already knew you were on your way. They said the school called. They may have asked me 3 questions. I vaguely remember them taking blood pressure and all of that. And they were like, we got to get her on the MRI table. They got me on the table. And they're asking me questions. I'm trying to answer them, but my speech is slurring.
Mm-hmm.
And in them asking me one more question, and it happened. I have another one on the table, and that's it. I'm out. When I wake up, I can't talk anymore.
Wow.
I have no feeling whatsoever on the left side of my body, which in fact happens to be the same side the CP acts up on.
Oh, no.
Doesn't help matters, okay? It makes things even worse. So, as a person with CP, they're always like looking at our brains, testing our gait. They now have to call my other doctors in Massachusetts to get copies of medical records so they can compare the two to see how much damage was really done.
Oh my gosh.
Because CP isn't, it causes brain damage. So
Right,
we need to see how much brain damage was done from the CP and then how much was done from the stroke.
Sure.
Doctors come in. My roommate, bless her heart, I love this girl. She calls my parents, calls my mom, tells my mom. We found out it wasn't Bell palsy. They're saying Kim had a stroke. Matter of fact, she had two. She had a second one on the MRI table. All they're telling me is you need to get here. My mother calls my grandmother in Massachusetts. My grandmother and my mother somehow, don't know how this happened, but my grandmother made it to Charlotte before my mother did.
Whoa, somebody was driving hard.
Get to Charlotte before hers, and you're farther away. So they got to the hospital. I remember them being in my room, and I remember the doctors telling my mother, "We're sorry, ma'am. There's nothing else we can do. We can give you a list of facilities if you want to put her in one. We can, inform you of places where if you need to get a nurse, if you're going to take her home and have someone come in and help her. But we highly suggest that you do put her in a facility because there's nothing else we can do. She's not going to recover from this."
Wow.
They said the damage is just that bad.
Holy smoke. So they told you that's it. There's nothing we can do. You're basically done.
You're done. You're pretty much, they said she can't talk. She can't move anything on the left side of her body. They said she can't even feel anything over there. So touching her, you're not going to hurt her because she can't feel anything. There's complete nerve damage. Nothing is there. But there's this saying where you got to have a praying grandmother. Yeah, that was my grandmother. She said absolutely not. We not going for it. She gonna recover. If she's recovered this far from CP, this girl is gonna recover. She's been through a lot already. We're not taking the doctor's words. So I stayed there for about 2 weeks. Ended up going back to Virginia with my mom until my grandmother could get things situated in Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm.
And once she did that, I left and went to Massachusetts to stay with my grandparents. And couldn't nobody's physical therapy beat grandma and grandpa. I tell you that. Because physical therapy with them was intense.
Right.
They had me up every day. They did not allow me to stay in the bed. They were like, nope, you're going to get up. My grandmother had me in the grocery store. She had me moving around. They were making sure that they were using my muscles. She was determined. She was like, nope, you're going to get through this. And the thing about it is that because I'm right-handed,
mm-hmm.
I could still write. So I would always write notes and just be like, okay, I can do this. I've been through this. This is a lot. But the doctors are always telling me I can't do something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to prove them wrong. So that's what made me keep going. So I had a really great support system and a roommate and a best friend who, even though I wasn't on campus, was calling, texting, everything every day. So, you get through it. It took 18 months for me to learn how to walk again.
Wow.
It was 18 months. It was 18 long months, but it was worth it. It really was.
Now,
it was a fight.
I want to now. This has been 13 minutes and 55 seconds so far, and I want y'all to notice something. I've got guys coming in here left and right. All the fans joining in. For you guys that are coming in, this lady right here, she gonna take your breath away. I told you this was gonna be a good one. I haven't even asked a second question. Now I talking about, I want to go back to your grandmother for a second because you talked about a praying grandmother. My grandmother was the same way. Our churches, connected when I was born, and prayer line and the whole 9 yards. But you talked about physical therapy being intense with your family. I can relate to that because it's nonstop. Because they push you when your family knows you and they've been around you and they've seen what you can do. they push you beyond your limits, and you're like, Lord, woo, I need a break. um, but
Yep.
I want to ask you something because I've never asked this on air, and I'm completely stumped. Now, you said you had a second stroke on the MRI table.
Yes.
How did they know? And this may be a question that is not of the utmost intelligence, but how do they know? Were they running tests when you had the second stroke? Do they know? Was that how they found out?
Yes.
Okay.
I was still on the table. They were still running tests, and that's when they could see the second one happening.
Wow. Okay. So it took you 18 months of work, and I know the physical therapy I went through was nothing compared to. I've never had a stroke, and I've been through some therapy, but I tell you, 18 months is a long time, but you did it, and you were triumphant in that. So talk about, if you would, how did you feel when you were able to walk again and move again?
It felt like freedom. It really did. It felt like wow, I accomplished a goal that I really, set my mind to do. But then it also taught me perseverance.
Mm-hmm.
It taught me to always push through.
Mm.
And after going through that, I strive even harder to accomplish goals and dreams and stuff that I've set out for myself. And I push my mentees to do the same thing. Bless their hearts, because I know their parents are like, this lady is really tough on them. But I'm like, if I can do it, I know you can do it too. So let's make this happen.
So
yeah, it does. It pushes you to grow, but it's a lot of mental work.
Now you mentioned something else, and you said your mentees. So you are a mentor as well.
Yes.
Could you touch on that subject just a little bit?
Sure. So I have two mentees. They're two children. One of them lives actually here in Virginia, near us. And her name is Layla. And she has CP. Actually, I found her based off a GoFundMe page, which is very interesting. There's a friend of mine posted a GoFundMe about this young girl who had CP. The doctors thought she had it right after she was born, and they were raising money for her. So I was like, okay, let me donate to something. I said, then I'm going to send a message. So that little contact box is like you can contact the organizer.
Mm-hmm.
I sent the organizer a message, and I said, if there's any way you can get this message to the parents, let the parents know, my name is Kimberlee. I live in Virginia. I was like, I'm not far from you guys at all. I was like, if you ever have any questions about living with cerebral palsy, please let me know. I left my email address, and because it was connected to my Facebook, the mom found me. And I talked to Ashley on numerous occasions. And I told her, I said, hold on. I said, the doctors are going to tell you one thing. I said, but if you know your child, I said, she's going to push through. And I've watched this little girl accomplish some stuff that doctors said would never happen. And I just tell her, I was like, well, she done went through what I went through. And so we would have conversations about just therapies that you go through. You have conversations about the surgeries. And so, I have her, but then there's another one I have. His name is Elijah, and he's also in the area. He's also here in the Virginia area with us.
Mm-hmm.
And I met him through a former coworker. Just happened to be having a conversation with her. And she was talking about him, and I said, oh, I have CP too. And she was like, what? So we started talking about the type that I had. And I was able to meet his dad and meet him. And there are often times when if he was getting ready to have surgery a few years ago, and she inboxed me and she said, I know you're busy, but is there any way you could go down to the hospital to just sit there and just maybe talk to him? Everyone's a little nervous. Sure, no problem. I'll go down there. So, I went down there and talked to the dad. Me and the little boy had conversations. We were talking about the surgery. I was like, oh yeah, I had that surgery and they cut my Achilles tendon. And I'm talking about like where they place it. And the doctors and the nurses are just like, we ain't never had nobody come in here and talk about that. And I said, well, I've been through it before. So that's my thing is like, if I know you've gone through it, or if I know that I can help out in any way, that's what I'm going to do now.
All right. So this is where I relate to you a lot from the doctor's standpoint. It seems like doctors want to diagnose so hard, and what they diagnose, and I'm pretty sure they diagnose based on what they see every day, but they don't really see. They see the patient, they cut on the patient, they work with the patient, and they go. It's not a constant. Do you feel that that doctors misdiagnose all the time?
They can misdiagnose. I will say that. Because my scoliosis diagnosis came really later on in life than what it should have. But I think a lot of it has to do with they're following the science. And CP is one of those things where we really push for early detection. Because if we can find out that a child has CP at an earlier age, it helps with the therapy. It helps with the prognosis.
Yes.
You know, for me, they didn't find out I had CP until I was 2.5.
Yeah, I was
trying to walk.
Yep, I was diagnosed when I was 2. That I found that that's common, and I just want to tell you, Facebook is lighting up right now. Nikki Tony says, how old is Layla? Anthony,
Layla,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Layla is, let me see. I want to say Layla is 4 now. Okay. She's 4. All
right, so she's 4, Nikki. Anthony says, keep it up, Kimberlee. Dan says, what a tough lady. My gracious. Now this one here, Angie, one of my friends that has watched for a while, she says, doctors are not always right. They told my parents I was going to die, and I'm living a full life and have 4 kids, and I have raised, have 4 kids, and I have raised, and they are grown. I've had CP all my life. So, I mean, it's amazing, you know, that we're reflecting and having all of this with CP on top of it, and you said scoliosis, right?
Yes.
Now, and that is a severe curvature of the spine, if I'm not,
Yes,
and deterioration of the spine, correct?
Yes. So my scoliosis wasn't diagnosed until after my 3rd stroke.
Wow.
That's when I got diagnosed with it. When it should have happened, because the curvature was always there, but the doctors thought it was just CP related. Because they're like, oh, her spine is curved. Well, she has CP. Okay, that's normal.
Right.
And after that 3rd stroke, they're in the hospital looking at my records, and he was like, we need to run some additional tests because we know you messed up your spine when you fell, but this isn't a regular spinal injury. So after running some tests, they found it. They said, you have scoliosis, and it's not as bad as it could be for me to have to need surgery. So as long as I can, you know, keep up the exercise and, you know, my posture and watch how I sit and things like that, I'll be okay and I won't have to have surgery. Now, if I get lazy with it, then they're going to have to cut my spine open. And I'm like, I'm not down with that. So we're going to leave that alone.
Right. Look, y'all done cut on everything else. Y'all can leave me alone in that situation. I'm just letting you know. Now, was the 3rd stroke stress related? Did they know what caused the 3rd stroke?
Yes, the 3rd and the 4th one were both stress related.
Oh my gosh, girl!
They were. I was working entirely too much, and it wasn't that I was trying to do a lot of things. It's just that I had my full-time job was that stressful. And I worked at the time we were working 6 days a week, and we were working anywhere from 12 to 16 hours a day. So not having a break took its toll on me. So we had a Keurig machine in the break room, and we used to laugh because we would have to go up front and tell the receptionist, we're running out of coffee in the back. And she'd be like, I know, I already ordered y'all some. It'll be here in the morning. Stuff like that. But I would drink a good 4 or 5 cups of coffee a day. That is not good at all.
You had the IV just right on in there, and it was just...
Yeah. We would joke about that often, that we really just needed... we needed a caffeine IV. We were like, give it to me. We needed something. It got to the point where the receptionist would, like, if we'd see her in the hallway or something, she would say, hey, is there any type of coffee y'all want to try out this time? And we remember one day we said, look, can we get some Starbucks and she would laugh and say, yep. She said, because I know that y'all back here working. I know that you will come in for a 6 a.m. shift and not leave till 9 p.m. at night or something. So she would order us these coffees that would allow us to stay awake because we're tired. We're absolutely exhausted, but we knew the work we were doing was helping people. So we didn't mind.
Wow.
But it was too much. My body couldn't. CP, you have to rest.
Yes. That's...
take breaks. There's a lot of fatigue involved.
And if you don't, your CP will make you take a break whether you want to or not.
Definitely will. It will be like, you know what? You ain't took a break. We ain't had a good night's sleep.
That's it.
We just gonna shut down.
and I'm sorry to laugh, but this show right here, and what is, I guess, giving me so much energy right now is your disposition through all this. I mean, you're talking about 4 strokes, working 16 to 20 hours, no sleep, shutting down, praying grandmama, going through therapy, couldn't walk for it took you 18 months, and you just smiling and just as how in the world do you keep, aside from, I know God is part of the answer, probably most of the answer, but how do you keep a cheery disposition through all this? I mean, like, goodness gracious, do you ever ask why?
I get asked that question a lot, though. People always wonder, they're like, you've been through a lot, how come you always have a smile on your face? And my answer is, yes, it is God, but at the same time, I've been through worse. I know what it's like to hit rock bottom and have to build yourself back up again. So for me, I went through this trial. I went through this journey for somebody else. Somebody is going to have to go through something. And in order for them to get through it, they're going to need my story. So I'm going to have to share it.
Wow.
That's how I see it. You've gone through it. Yes, I will tell you, it was stressful to go through. At the time, did I think it was a good idea? No. I would cry myself to sleep. I'd be just as frustrated. But it was one of those things where I know I can get through this. Like, this is just temporary. Things will change. It'll get better. And it's one of those things where I have affirmations that I read to myself every morning.
Right.
I keep journaling cards in my planner. So, I always have a notebook with me. So I'm constantly writing things down, but I'm constantly thinking of the gratitude in it all. So, yeah, it may be rough. It may be stressful to go through, but at the same time, it's like, okay, but I'm thankful because I have a family that can support me.
Right.
My mom didn't have to quit her job to take care of me. She could still work because I had a younger sister. My younger sister needed to be taken care of. She was in high school at the time. So, that was scary for her. And I had 2 additional younger siblings who were like, wait a minute, what is going on? So to them, all they knew was their oldest sister was struggling.
Right.
But I have to say, I have an amazing support system. That I will say. I have a support system that I could not ask for a better group of people because they have helped me get through a lot. Some of them have been with me since birth. Others have come along throughout the years, but no one has left. It's just gotten bigger. It's not like I've lost someone in the circle and now I've got to fill it. No, it's always been, hey, we're going to pull somebody else in. And I'm like, okay. Or someone will ask, hey, is there anything I can do to help? Someone will ask to share my story. That is actually how I met my fiance, by the way, is the fact that he asked to share my story. And I was like, okay, go ahead. I thought it was a little creepy at first, but then I thought it was cute.
Sorry. She said, yeah, sure, I guess it's all right. Go ahead. Oh God. That is so great. I'm like, I totally get it, because you're like, I don't know. Well, yeah, I get. Go ahead. Okay, this is weird.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow. Edwina Wilson talks about support all the time, and the village being the big part of getting through it. And I just, ever since I've first met you, you have always. If I had one word to describe you, it would be phenomenal, because you are the most out of the box thinker, aside from Miss Wilson, that I've ever known. You don't have negative. Like, there is your thinkometer is running 9 all the time, and I'm just like, I guess my big question for you is, was that just the way you were raised, or was it you that said, look, this is how I'm going to be, and it kind of stayed there? Because I know there are people that are very much comfort zone thinkers, and I would say that I was one of them to a point, until I got jerked out of it, and part of that, because we talked about it. How is it that you became this? Was it at a young age? Was it because of family pushing you through? Was it a combination? Is the question too long?
Yep, it was a combination. A lot of it has to do with how I was raised. So, having a disability, it's like, oh, you're like the new kid on the block, and people aren't really sure how to gravitate towards you.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was first born, the doctors told my mother, she's not going to survive. She won't make it past 24 hours. So there is no reason for you to get attached. So she didn't. She didn't even see me. 24 hours later, my pastor from back home comes in, my godmother, and they're all like, oh my gosh, we saw her. She's so pretty. My mother was like, what are you talking about? They said she didn't survive. They said she wasn't going to make it through the night.
Mm-hmm.
They said she's in there. They said, actually, the nurses, they just gave her a bottle. So my mother was like, I haven't even seen her. So my mother went to go see me for the first time, and I was like 24 hours old. So in her telling me that at a young age, she said there was just something about you that you had this spirit and this fight in you that said, I'm not going to give up.
Wow.
She said, in knowing that that's what they told me, she said, I just was like, you know what? This little girl says she's not going to give up, then I'm not going to give up on her.
Wow.
And that was my family. They had all said, they said that first 24 hours taught them all a lesson. So to me, it's just, I am who I am. I know that my purpose in life is to help others get through things, but I also know that it's a passion for me. If someone tells me I can't do something, I'm like, okay, all right. I've had doctors, nurses, teachers, everyone tell me, oh, well, she's not going to be in regular school. She's not really going to work. They wanted to have me fitted for a wheelchair. And I told them absolutely not. I was 3 years old and told the doctor, I'm not going to let no palsy stop me. My mother said those words stuck in her head, and she said they still do.
Wait a minute now. Did y'all hear that? let me let me just reiterate what Kim just said. At 3 years old, I'm not gonna let no palsy stop me.
Yep.
Now I don't know how many of y'all are sitting there. I know I am because well that's what I do. But Dan just said this woman needs to tell her story to the world. I mean, you got
I promise.
you she does have a phenomenal story, and I'm glad we still got like 30 minutes left because this might turn into a series with Kim right here. I'm gonna let y'all know. I love this lady. She is but something that you said, and I want to reiterate this as Facebook just continues to blow up. I can't even read all the comments coming in here. I'm not even gonna try. All right, Dan, get on Facebook, not on Skype, brother. Come on now. But anyway, you talked about your passion, being able to help people, and that's where you and I relate, right? I think that is the connection and the fire that we have. But so at 3 years old, you tell the doctors, "Hey, I'm not going to let no palsy stop me," and it grows from there, correct?
Yep, it does.
Okay.
I did stuff that they tell us we're not supposed to do. So we're not supposed to be in mainstream schooling.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you can forget that. Because first day of kindergarten, I came home and I said, Mommy, I don't like these kids. And she says, why not? I said, because they don't talk. And everyone in my class drools. And she says, well, Kim, that happens. And I said, no, but they don't talk.
Mm-hmm.
So the next day, my mother's up there, and she realized they had me in a special needs class.
Uh-oh.
No one in my class talked. My mother said, yeah, this isn't going to work. We need to put her in a regular classroom. They said, oh, well, she has CP, so that's why we put her there.
So?
And my mother said, well, that's the problem. There's a label there, and you just automatically assume this is where the kids should go.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, that's not the case. They said, have you had a conversation with my 5-year-old? Because I'm pretty sure if you did, you would know some stuff. She said, the girl can talk. She can read. She can answer questions. I'm pretty sure if you ask her, she will be just fine. So the second day of kindergarten, they put me in a mainstream class, no issues. Now, here comes the part that scares them.
Mm-hmm.
Gym class, PE class, they're like, wait a minute. And I'm like, what? I got braces on my legs. I'm fine. I can play along with the rest of the kids. Because, you run out to the playground and you go on a swing set and they're like, wait, Kimberlee, you can't do that.
Yep.
Why not?
Yep.
Everybody else is playing on the swing set. Why can't I go?
Mm-hmm.
So, I was just like, no, I can play on the swing set. Want to see? I would have to show them that I could do something. My neighbors thought it was so cool that I could ride a bike. I was like, it's a bike. And me not knowing any better, and DJ, my facial expressions will say something before my mouth does.
That's why I'm laughing.
I'm looking at adults like, but that doesn't make any sense. Like, why can't I ride a bike? All the other kids in the neighborhood are riding a bike. My family does not treat me any differently than any other kid in the family.
Mm.
I had chores just like everybody else had chores.
Preach it. There you go.
So, as a kid, you're learning how to wash dishes. So, because I can't stand up that long, and I'm like washing dishes, my mother's like, nope, put the chair up to the sink and stand on your knees. And that was my physical therapy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They put me in a chair, and it helps me learn how to stand up. It helps with my back, And she was like, you wash the dishes from the kitchen sink. And you wash the dishes. You ain't had no choice. Like, there was no difference.
See, now and again, I just want to touch on something. I'm going to let y'all know on the air right now, if I die tomorrow, Miss Kim going to take over my show. and I'm going to tell you why. I want to point out something she said. she didn't care that she had CP. She wanted to play on the swing set. She gonna play on the swing set. She wanted to ride a bike. She's gonna ride a bike. That's determination. That's flat out. I don't care what obstacles you put in front of me. I'm gonna either move them obstacles over or go through them. And that is powerful, because my school, same thing. They wanted to put me in a special ed class. My mom came, oh no. They told me that the third day I was in first grade, they said, Miss Carter, you need to come up to school right now. Your son has a complex. My mom said, can you tell me what's going on over the phone? Oh no, you need to come to school. My mom had to take off work. She comes up. She's sitting in the principal's office. She said, we asked DJ what his name was, and he keeps saying trouble to all the kids. My mom said, ask him what his brother's name is. I said, Double Trouble. That principal looked at my mom like, I am so sorry. I want to go bury my head under a rock somewhere and just, I don't understand. See, people are afraid of what they don't understand. And I think that's the biggest, you're able to bridge the gap just through blowing them away. And that's not a bad thing. And it makes me think, do I need to change my way of thinking? Not that I'm doing things wrong. You have to do what works for you. And honestly, I love that about you, because you make things work for you. It doesn't matter what obstacles you face. Everybody's going to have bad days. We're going to have them CP days. We're just like, it ain't working today. I'm going to just sit down. I'll get up in a minute, and I want, I want to move forward just a little bit, because we're going to need a part 2, because I only got 15 minutes left. But, Lord, this is a loaded question. What do you do now? And I know your plate is so loaded. Can you give us the short version of what you do now?
Sure, I'll give you the short version. Okay, so I work for a local workforce development board. So yes, I do have a full-time job. I am what they call a follow-up specialist. Mm-hmm. So I handle a lot of retention and data analysis. And I work with at-risk youth. I work with youth ages 16 to 24 that have some type of barrier they have to overcome in life. Something has happened that has stopped them from progressing and being productive citizens. Mm-hmm. So it is my job to make sure that not only they stay on track to accomplish their goals, but that after they've accomplished at least one goal and have gotten either their high school diploma, their GED, or earned an industry recognized credential, that I make sure that they're still progressing and they keep going and they're moving forward to the next goal. So for me, I become what my coworkers call big sister and auntie to these kids. Mm-hmm. I have right now, there's about 130 kids on my caseload, which is the smallest amount it has been since I've been with the organization for the past 4.5 years. You said
130?
It's 130. I normally have, my average is about 350. Whoa. So right now I only have 130. But I love my job. I love what I do. Some of the youth in the program, some of them have felonies, misdemeanors. They'll be parenting. Some of them have disabilities, like there's a girl in the group. She has muscular dystrophy. I have quite a few people in the group that are autistic. So we find ways to communicate with one another. Mm-hmm. They're youth. They know a lot of my time is spent talking to them on social media, things like that. So I make it so that way they can communicate with me the best way they know how. It does not always have to be a phone call for them. And they appreciate that. So that is one job. Uh-oh. So on top of that, I am also a full-time blogger. So I run a food blog called Southern Roots Kitchen, where I talk about food reviews, kitchen tips, and I do some Foodie Friday fun. So there are some recipes on it, but I'm not a big recipe blogger because I don't normally cook with a recipe. So I can't give people a recipe if I'm not normally using recipes.
See, you cook like me. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, put it together, put it in the oven, see what happens.
I'm one of those people where I just sprinkle until my ancestors tell me to stop. That's how I feel.
I love it. Oh my God.
So, I run a full-time blog, but I also run a full-time book blog. So my book blog is called The Literary Courier.
Mm-hmm.
And what I do is I do book reviews. I go to book events and host different chats with authors, and I promote their products. And the thing about being a full-time blogger is you're a full-time blogger, but you're also an influencer. So I've got brands and companies reaching out to me to write about their stuff. So I'm constantly looking like, okay, what am I going to write about next? Like I literally had a conversation earlier with my fiance about what I need to do for the end of the year, like what brands I want to work with, who I want to reach out to, and looking at what I want to do next year already. It is September and I'm already thinking of January 2021.
Maybe I should have rephrased the question as to what don't you do? I mean,
so there's that. And then there's, let's see, I sit on a bunch of committees on a bunch of boards locally in the area, but I also run a virtual assistant business. So that is something that I've been doing for 11 years. Oh, wow, I can't believe it's been that long. So that is I help business owners set up systems. Mm-hmm. And I help them get their social media management and all of that stuff together. So that's something I've been doing for a while. I do a lot of content creation. So that way, because I know it takes a lot to get the word out about your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that. So I try to lessen the load on business owners. So I've been doing that for a while. Let's see. I'm the secretary at my church. Also the social media manager for them. I think that's it. Look, I don't know. I think that's it.
Now, when she says she thinks that's it, she just listed like 8 things in a row, and like my chair just overloaded. If y'all can see my chair smoking back here, not literally smoking, the battery. Never mind, y'all don't get it. I got people laughing up here. I just see, but here's I want to make sure that you get this out. You do so much for people. I mean, just how do you? The last question I want to ask, social media and stuff, because I know you get a lot of that. How do you manage your time? I mean, there's only 24 hours in a day, and you have to sleep. How do you manage your time?
My planner. I will tell you this. I am a planner junkie. I am one of those planners that buys up all the stickers. And yes, my planner may be like decorated and has like washi tape and all of that, but it's also the place where everything goes.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So I have right now, let's see, there's a work planner on my desk. My personal planner is on my desk. Oh, my wedding planner is over there because I need to work on planning my wedding. Yeah, so they're all, I think there's one planner missing. There's a planner at home. So no, it's not home yet. It's almost home. It'll be there. I ordered another one, y'all. Do not judge me. I'm a planner junkie. I will tell you that. But everything gets written down. Everything gets written down. Everything has a time and a place. But at the same time, there's a cutoff point.
Yeah.
So by 9:00 at night, I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not doing nothing else. I am getting ready for bed, and I'm relaxing because by 10:30, I'm asleep.
Right. Now, are you able, with having so many planners, are you able to keep track of everything? I mean,
Yeah, so I do keep track of everything because there is one planner that has, I pretty much call it the catch-all. So it's the planner that lists what I need to do each day for each aspect of each business that I own. Mm-hmm. And then there's a section for my personal stuff. So there will be a section that's like, okay, for Southern Roots Kitchen, this is what I need to do today. Personal, this is what I need to do today. So like today, in my like the section in the personal plan said I needed to contact a venue. And then it also says I need to complete blogging tasks today.
Right. So it has everything listed.
Everything is there. So it's a planner that I keep with me all the time. It's really, I'm one of those people where I carry a big bag. I love bags. I do. I absolutely love bags and purses. I think tote bags are like the best thing in life. But I always have my planner, my notebook. I love ink pens. I'm an ink pen collector. So there's an ink pen in there. And my laptop may be with me because I'm constantly thinking of stuff. Like even if I just have a notebook in it, I may be in the middle of the grocery store and will think of an idea and I'll jot it down.
Poop and pull it out and jot it down. Well, I got to stop you for a minute because we have breaking news right now. JJ just got up here and he said, ask Kim when she will finish her autobiography. This is her fiance and editor.
Yes. So my fiance, we met because he asked me if he could write about me and I inspired a character for a book. So after he wrote this book, he then inboxed me and was like, so can you read it to make sure I got it right? That's why I said, yeah, it sounds a little creepy, but I thought it was cool. Because I had never read a romance novel that had a person that had CP.
Oh.
I was like, hey, this is kind of awesome. So if you ever want to learn a little bit about me, you can check out Kick to the Curb by J.J. Murray. Okay. So that is there. Now, all the other books after Kick to the Curb, up to this very last one that is called Have Ring Will Marry, part of my proposal, yes, is in that book.
Wow.
There's a piece of me in each of those books. I'll say that. But I am writing an autobiography. I wanted it done by December 2020. That is not going to happen at all. I would really like to have it done within I'd say the next year. If I could get that done for my birthday next year, that would be awesome. So yeah, but he also knows what my crazy schedule looks like.
And now the rest of the world knows what your crazy schedule looks like. I just
figuring out like what you're gonna write. And for me, a lot of it, I have started it. So that's the thing. People are like, oh, but have you started? I actually have started it. I've outlined some things. I've had to have a lot of conversations with some family members about different aspects of my life growing up. Like I have a cousin who knows a lot and she's there from the beginning. And I'm talking sitting in the Shriners Hospital with me as they're going through the surgeries. She's one of those where there was questions I had to ask and she would give me information. So I have outlined it. It has started to come together. I'm pushing for next year. I really am. And that just may happen because there might be a possibility that I could let go of some stuff on my plate. If I can get some automated, I could let go of some things and be able to work on that.
Well, JJ, this one's for you. Miss Kim is dynamite. There we go. That's my best JJ right there. So I got about 5 minutes left. Let me, I want to make sure to get your social media and how you can be contacted. Let the world know how they can reach the amazingly busy Miss Kim.
Okay, you can find me on Facebook. Actually, if you go to the search bar on Facebook and type in Tastefully Kim S, you'll find me there. But you can also find me that same name, and then after the show, I'll put it in the comments for them.
Oh, thank you so much.
You can find me by that same name on Instagram and Twitter. So I'll post stuff about living with CP all the time. I do it mostly on Instagram. People, for some reason, like it on Instagram. I don't know why, but they do. So I'll post stuff there. My food blog is southernrootskitchen.com. So that information is there. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for each of those. It's S_Roots Kitchen. And then the food blog, not the food blog, the book blog is called The Literary Courier. So it's literarycourier.com. And it's The Literary Courier on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I am not a Snapchat girl, neither am I a TikTok girl. I got two. I ain't got there yet.
I can't stand TikTok. I mean, I don't stand, period. But I'm just saying, I just can't stand TikTok for real.
Yeah. Give me a minute. So yeah, that's that one. The virtual assistant business right now, there's only a Facebook fan page, and that's for a reason, because I know once I create a website, that's even more work for me that I'm not in the place to take on yet.
Now you have you have YouTube as well?
I do not have a YouTube, and so let me rephrase that. Southern Roots Kitchen has a YouTube channel that I do not use, that I need to use more. So that will happen. It will happen sometime sometime this year. There's some stuff I'm working on with the brands that I can't say just yet, but they're going to need the YouTube channel for that. So there'll be some things happening with some different brands where the YouTube channel will be utilized, because I was doing a lot of it on Facebook, and there's some stuff that they want to do on YouTube, but we can link to other bloggers. So that's coming. So it will be there.
Well, let me just say this. You are truly an amazing, awesome individual, and there will be a part 2.
Yeah.
We haven't even, I had like 26 questions on this little thing right here. We got to number 8, okay? Because this right here is my definition of pushing through. Kim, as I've said, I just knocked my phone halfway over. It is amazing. She cares about people. She's passionate about what she believes in, and she pushes through life. And sometimes you got to take a negative and turn it into a positive. I know Miss Wilson has said that. Miss Wilson been blowing the comments up. She loves you. Everybody up here loves you. You are an amazing individual. I know JJ's gonna be a positive impact on your life. Congratulations to the two of you.
Thank you.
I cannot wait to see all of the thing. And when that autobiography comes out, I'm ordering 2. I'm going to just let you know.
It's coming, I promise. It is. It's coming.
Guys, it's been a great show. You can reach me at My CP Does Not Define Me on YouTube. You can reach me at My CP Does Not Define Me on Instagram. My CP Does Not Define Me on Twitter at Minion Sports. My new blog is CarterDJ85 at Wix.com/MySite1. I always say, if you can't be good, be bad, but be good at it. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. And I love this show. I cannot wait to have part 2. I'll be talking with Kim again soon. And I think we're going to have to bump it up to September, because I want to get this part 2 in here quick.
Okay.
You guys have been great. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you guys have questions for Kim, she will answer them. As she said, she's going to put all of her media information in the comments for you guys. She's got a lot of it. And please follow her, because she is able, if you have a question or need to get things done, check her out. She will help you in any way that she can. She is for people, about people all the time, and she puts people before herself, and she always has. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you next Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time for My CP Does Not Define Me. Take care, everybody.